Journey Through Parenthood with Martina Bills.
Good Monday morning, everyone. I'm Martina Bills. Thanks for joining us here on the WSAZ Now desk for Journey Through Parenthood. Today we're talking about a very important subject, water safety. No matter how old your child is, how old you are, knowing how to swim and keeping an eye on those children around those bodies of water, whether it's a pool, a lake, a creek, a small pond in someone's yard, is so very important this time of year. We've heard of several drownings in our region with very young children already this summer, unfortunately, and it can never be a bad idea to go over safety reminders for water safety.
I get asked that question a lot, and I think it depends on the parent or guardian's experience in the water or around the water. If the parent or guardian is going to take that small child or baby swimming and expose them to the water, I think that's the best thing they can do, and the earlier the better. But then there's plenty of parents and guardians who don't know how to swim or don't feel comfortable taking their child into the water, and having someone do that for them, whether it's through traditional swim lessons or another family member, do that for them would be wonderful. So the earlier the better. But swim lessons per se, a child is not going to be able to save themselves in the water until they're maybe 3, 4, 5 years old, depending on their skills. So taking a baby to swim lessons is not necessarily going to be able to save that baby if they're swimming alone. A child should never be left alone, no matter what their skill level is.
And, I know we've covered drownings with children actually this summer here on WSAZ. And every year, you just learn how dangerous water can be in very short amount of time. Talk a little bit about the best ways to protect a child, really of all ages and swimming ability, when there's water around, whether it's a pool or sometimes even a creek in our area, a lake, anywhere that people might be looking for ways to cool off over the summer.
Well, first of all, a child or whether it's, a 2-year-old or a 10-year-old, someone has got to have the responsibility to be watching that child at all times. Whether it's in 2 feet of water, 1 foot of water, or 10 feet of water. There needs to be someone watching that child at all times. And that means someone who can see the child at all times, not when the waves are up and down. Someone needs to be in the water or at least within a few feet of that child at all times, not looking at other children, not looking on their cell phone, just someone to pay attention, because something can happen very quickly.
Mm-hmm. And something you mentioned when you first started answering that question on the depth of the water, it doesn't take a lot of water to turn troublesome.
Absolutely. Small children and babies drown in just a couple of inches of water in the bathtub.
Mm-hmm. And Mary, I know I didn't talk to you about this before, but there's been some social media pictures going around on wearing brighter colors of swimsuits to make the children kind of more visible. Do you think that's a good idea from your point of view, to be able to keep an eye on a child in a body of water?
Yes, I definitely think that's a good idea. Just like they make the floaties and the life jackets usually bright colors. I think that's wonderful. But again, someone needs to be close to that child and be able to grab them within a few seconds if needed. So having eyes on the child, no matter what color they're wearing, is the most important safety issue there is.
Okay, so the puddle jumpers have become so popular over the last, I'd say, decade, because my little girl is 11, and when she was little, that was like the thing everyone had. But I've also seen, people who are proponents of, getting your child those safety swim lessons. They say don't let your child rely on the puddle jumper or a flotation device like that to give them like false hope of knowing to be able to swim, that kind of thing. What's your advice when it comes to something like that with a life jacket or a puddle jumper that we see so commonly around here?
Well, I think they're all good for many reasons. But again, yes, you can't just put that on your child, whether it's a life jacket, a puddle jumper, a floaties on the arms only. That is not going to be the safety end all. The child has to be watched, and someone needs to be holding the child if needed. So they're not the way to just put them on and put your child in the water and they'll be okay.
Okay. Can you think of anything else from a water safety perspective over the summer months? I know we're dealing with another heat wave and it is so hot, and I know everyone just wants to find ways to stay cool.
Well, I think that a lot of people have fear of the water, especially adults if they don't know how to swim. And I encourage people of any age to go out and seek somewhere they can find swim lessons so they can feel more comfortable. That fear of your child being around the water and you don't know how to swim would be awful. That wouldn't feel so good. So it would be a great thing for adults to learn to swim too, and they would feel more comfortable with their children in the water.
So Mary Adams is a nurse practitioner with Valley Health. She is also a swim instructor. And I talked to her last week about swimmer's year, which is always a tricky thing to deal with when your child is in the water so often during the summer months. Then we went to the topic of water safety because it's not something you can talk about too often during this time of year. It is so hot outside. Everyone's looking for ways to cool off. And it does not matter the depth of the water. Water can be very dangerous when young children are around, especially unsupervised children, children who do not know how to swim. And even if your child does know how to swim, a swift current, the wrong stepping on a stone, say in a creek that's slippery, can take that child down and really cause a scary situation. The best advice Mary Adams is giving to adults is make sure those children are supervised by an adult at all times, no matter how old the child is, no matter their swimming, ability, no matter how deep the water is. Make sure an adult is watching the children. And I know that as a parent, as my child has gotten older, I've been more conscious of watching other parents watching their children around a pool or the beach this summer. And phones are so commonly in front of parents' faces while those children are in the pool, and it really makes me nervous. So I feel like I'm always watching other kids as well. So just keep an eye on your child. That's the best advice. That's the most important thing, to not let those children out of your sight when there is water around, no matter if that child is also wearing like a puddle jumper. So also with swim lessons, Mary Adams is saying, she's a swim instructor. And really, when you get those children in those young swim lessons, sometimes the parent is in the pool with them during the lessons. It's really just to get them accustomed to being in the water, not just the bathtub, maybe a swimming pool of sorts. But it's not really going to teach that child to save their own life in a situation that they're put in. So until they're a little older, the swim lessons aren't really life-saving techniques. So definitely keep an eye on all children, no matter their ages, no matter their swimming ability, all summer long. So here on Journey Through Parenthood, if you want to reach out to me on social media, you can do so at my social media that you see on the screen right now. You can also reach out to me here at the station by email or give me a call. We're here every Monday and Wednesday on the WSAZ Now desk at 10 o'clock for Journey Through Parenthood. We hope you have a great week.